My only regret is we didn't meet up earlier, I feel, in my career, so that I could work with him even more.
That's two-time Tony Award-winning actress Laurie Metcalf talking about her two-time Tony Award-winning director Joe Mantello. Laurie is currently starring in Little Bear Ridge Road, marking her 7th collaboration with Mantello.
We first met on David Mamet's play November. And that's when I got to also work with Nathan. Ever since then, we just hit it off, and we seek out projects to do together, and that's kind of how Little Bear came along.
A few years back, Laurie and Joe sought out playwright Samuel D. Hunter, the writer of numerous plays, including The Whale, which was later adapted into a film starring Brendan Fraser, who won an Academy Award for his performance.
To Laurie and Joe's credit, when they first met me and asked me to write a play and asked me if I had an idea, and I said I want to write a play about people watching television, to their credit, they didn't run away screaming. But yeah, that was always the genesis of it.
The relationship between the two main characters in Little Bear Ridge Road changed over time.
I think it started off as a mother-son relationship, switched to aunt-nephew, which I find really interesting because it's not exactly parental, it's kind of like a peer, but they don't owe each other anything. It's an interesting relationship to explore in that sense.
Laurie plays Sarah, and actor Micah Stock plays her estranged nephew Ethan, who returns to their hometown to tend to some unfinished business.
Ethan is a sort of, stunted, mid-30s writer, a very talented, brilliant guy, but who's carrying the weight of his past perhaps a little bit too much. And so he's faced with a situation where he has to come back to a place that he never felt safe in, that he fled, and to a person that he never felt safe with. So it's a very, very stacked set of cards for him.
You look at your theater credits, you make your Broadway debut in It's Only a Play with Nathan Lane and Stockard Channing and F. Mary Abraham and Matthew Broderick and Megan Mullally, and then you go on to do the front page with Nathan Lane again. Now you're back with Laurie Metcalf. I mean, Michael, what is it? Is it, how many stars are in the cast before I sign up to say yes?
That's never been the reason why. Maybe in this case, it was Sam and Laurie, maybe that was why. But I guess I've just been very lucky to learn from those people. And I think I probably had to show up more sooner. When I was 25 and I was doing It's Only a Play, I had only previously done plays in basements, about people yelling at each other and smoking pot. So it was sort of like a real wild introduction to this industry.
Explain how you got the title.
Yeah, well, the simple reason is my dad lives in a house on Little Bear Ridge Road, about 20 minutes outside of Troy, Idaho. But why I chose it is I really love that it's at once very big and almost like mythic, and maybe even subtly points to, like Ursa Minor up in the sky. But then it lands on something so concrete and tiny, road. That it's starry, it's tectonic, and then it's very, very grounded in a single location.
Laurie, you're such a theater creature, and we're so lucky to have you back on stage this season. What is it about the theater that keeps drawing you in? Because you're just as busy with TV and film.
Maybe it's simply that I came up in theater, and so that was my first love, but it is surprising, I guess, that it has continued to be that. I think that it's like two different skill sets. It's the skill set in the rehearsal room of finding the performance that you want to map out and doing it in a way that's going to give the audience the best ride that they can be on. So that is always, with every play, I was going to say new play, with any play, that's always like the treasure hunt or whatever. And then you open and you flip to the other skill set, which is being able to repeat it the 8 times a week and try to make it feel as spontaneous as possible.
And it's shaping up to be a full season for Metcalf. Shortly after I sat down with the actress, it was announced that she'll return to Broadway this spring, starring opposite Nathan Lane in a revival of Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman. And yes, they'll once again be directed by Joe Mantello. I hear that you may be, you're gonna be busy on Broadway this season.
I might be, yeah. I gotta pace myself.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. For more premiere theater coverage and exclusive interviews, click the subscribe button. You can also download the Spectrum News app or watch us on TV for the latest information, balanced coverage, weather updates every 10 minutes, and more. We'll see you there.